That was incredible. You shouldn't have done that. It took me a while to get it all collected here. Will you control your wife next time, Chris? I'll tell you, if there ever is a homicide in my family, I want you to stand up and represent me as ever want to turn the others over, okay? Talk about something gifted with speech and articulate, both of you, incredible children. What do we expect out of Bill and Lyla? Nothing less than that. And Bill, you're a great role model for me. Bill Overton said, let's have a reunion. He's been after me for 2 years to have a reunion. I didn't realize Lyla would be the one providing it for us to get together as family. And we thank her for that, along with many, many other wonderful things she brought in our lives. My wife Kim and I went down the river. I go down the river a lot. But we went down the river at Chicago yesterday, and as we finished the boat tour, the name of the boat was Lyla. Pretty interesting. Sort of cut so short. And Lyla could have easily been called Lovey, because Lyla and love are synonymous. And that was a wonderful remembrance of your life with your mother. I'm probably one of the oldest living relatives that goes back a long time with my cousin Lyla. My wife Kim and Lyla were like sisters, like Debbie and Lyla, and they talked a lot. And Lyla did make Kim a lot of things and sent her a lot of towels and a lot of other wonderful messages of love. So it's not surprising that I wanted to go out to Minor Lake. I don't know if you've been to Minor Lake before, out outside Allegan. Were it not for Allegan and Minor Lake, I would have never really been a part of the Overtons. My father was the youngest brother of Lyle and Wade, and he was killed in an auto accident just after we were all together in the car when that happened, just after he was coming home from the military. And my grandfather, Glen Overton, lived at Minor Lake and in Dowagiac as well. And every year he'd have the Overtons get together. And I'm so grateful for that experience, because it brought so many rich and wonderful memories of good old Minor Lake. And for a kid from Utah, which is a desert country, to come back to Michigan and be mesmerized at night with the fireflies and some mosquitoes and the lights of the heavens going down each night and the sunsets was a wonderful experience for me. We had he had a home on the side of Minor Lake there, and Lyla, that buffalo was ideal, because if I go back to my memory, Lyla was always riding the buffalo, and the cousins were always cleaning up the chips. Guaranteed. We had a bag and a shovel, but she was in charge, and she made sure that everybody had their order. Debbie remembers that. And she was the Mary Poppins of our childhood. And we loved it. And we all have had our challenges in life. But I know Lyla, and I know where she is now, and I know she's happy, and her family will be happy. Time has a tremendous way of healing, and Lyla can help with that. When I think of Lyla, I also think of the great conversations we had, telling ghost stories. As you know, she was an intellectual, much higher than I would have ever been. She was a writer, and she loved drama, and she loved the stage, so it's no surprise we would have a celebration of Lyla's life here in this theater. But more importantly, she loved people. Dan just walked by me just this afternoon, and he said, I remember one day that I was trying to get, he worked with her in the education area. He was trying to get some papers together, and he didn't think he had time, and Lyla looked and said, let me help you. And 2 days later, it was all done and handed back to him. It sort of shocked him. He wasn't quite used to that kind of immediacy with his peers. But that's Lyla, and that's what she was all about. We had so many fun experiences, some experiences that would really set you back on your heels. Where's Dick? We'll always, over here. youngest brother. We were just talking yesterday when we were fishing a snake out of the lake. And we took, I always remember that. Lyla scolded us for it, but I couldn't resist, and I got a hold of the snake and flipped it behind me. And I swear to this day, I didn't know Dick was standing behind me. Didn't know it. But that snake did, because it hit him just perfectly around the neck, and it was about a 4-footer, and just wrapped itself around Dick's neck. Now, if you've ever seen anybody who has eyes this big, it's someone that's in trouble and doesn't know how to get out of it. And quickly, he unraveled that snake, and we've laughed about that. We've had a lot of experiences like that, going into Allegan to the movies, having evenings above the garage, talking about the bears that run the forest out of Minor Lake, telling ghost stories, and having music. Music was a part of our lives back then as well. And so when I come back to Michigan, my heart's always warmed because of my cousins that were here, and because of our Mary Poppins that we had in Lyla, who was strict and yet loving. She knew what she needed to have in life, and she went after it. And her greatest commodity in this life, her greatest legacy, will be with Bill and Tate and Betsy. And we're grateful that you've found a sweetheart too, and we're grateful that your family came out here, the Flemings, I spent some time with them during a big wedding. And I'd never seen Lyla happier. And it was a wonderful experience. I was going to share when I went out to the wedding, I was going to share a song about Lyla. And that song we both enjoyed in the late 60s, that goes back before most of you could remember. But it was a song that was written by a great musician. And I think if we've got 2 minutes left, I can share that with him, Bill, before you take the hook and pull me out of the way. Okay. I see trees of green, red roses too. I pick them all for me and you. And I say to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue, clouds of white, bright sunny days, dark sacred nights, and I say to myself, my dear, what a wonderful world. Oh, the colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the children and the faces walking by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're only saying, I love you. I hear babies cry. I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I ever know. And I say to myself, self, what a wonderful world. Yeah, I hear babies cry.